All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast in sunny North Carolina today. And what a day it's been already. We are here with the good folks at SouthernCarlson. I'll tell you what, we'll do a round robin. We'll just start over here on my right. And tell you what, if you want to maybe introduce yourself and sort of your territory, something like that.
All right. My name's Devin Foor. Cover basically between 95 and 77 of North Carolina, the interstates that is. But I've been in the industry for 20-some years. Started with a manufacturer, and 10 years into that, I went to distribution and have been kind of gobbled up by the SouthernCarlson, if you will. And gosh, it's going on. I think it's 25 years. So
25 years, man, that's amazing. That's awesome. I hope I'm podcasting in 25 years. We'll see how that goes. Next, sir.
So Jared Leonhardt, I've got Western South Carolina, in the industrial side for 12 years total. Been in the fasteners for somewhere like eight years.
Perfect. Next.
Sean Gibhart, Regional Sales Manager for Region 23 North and South Carolina. Supply side distribution, about 30 years in the industry.
Oh, wow.
Have the great pleasure of being the workhorse and task manager for this team here. They keep me working all the time. So.
I bet it's fun, though. I with this group, I bet you have a lot of fun.
Oh, it can be at times.
And we've got one. So we've got one off camera that you guys can't see because we're limited on mics here. So we're gonna get some new equipment before too long, and we'll try to get everybody in. But go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Wayne Mays. I'm a territory manager for Western North Carolina. Been in the business about 25 years. Started doing service. Been territory manager for the last 15 or so.
Very nice. So lots of years of experience in this. Let's start I don't know, right from the beginning. What do you guys? What is your take on fasteners in the shed industry? We talked a little bit on air before we got on here, and we were talking about supply. We were talking about COVID, things that supply chain issues and things like that. But I just kind of want to get you guys, feel free to take as much of the mic as you want. We haven't had a fastener company on here, I don't believe yet. We've had some distribution on here that probably sells fasteners and things like that. But from someone who specializes in this in the industry, I'm kind of curious on what you guys' overall take of the shed industry and where you meet the shed industry with fasteners. What's that look like to you guys?
I mean, I would say, excuse me, anything obviously wood to wood is our focus when it comes to fasteners, and obviously sheds. When you kind of think about it, when you look at a house, it's kind of a mini house in a way. So we've also got the residential side of our business, which I don't think any of us focus on a whole lot. We're more industrial based, which obviously sheds fall into. So when it comes to fasteners, and from your floors to your walls to your roofs to your trusses, we're kind of the whole package when it comes to putting that shed together. So obviously we focus on not only just the fasteners, but we have screws and carriage bolts and loose and bulk. But I mean, we kind of have the whole gamut when it comes to any type of fastener related to a shed. So
now you guys get into some other areas though as well. You guys are kind of in some of the metal side. I'll let you guys explain it, because if I do it, I'll do a poor job. But we just walked through and one of the most amazing warehouses I've ever seen. And the coolest thing is how it's not just the organization of it all, but it's what it says whenever you walk in there. It says, we've got your product. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, is we're going to be able to take care of you. And that's something in the shed industry that's a concern, especially after something like COVID.
Yeah, that evolved. Excuse me. For us, it evolved over the past 4 years when we built this facility. And to us, it says this is our commitment to our customer, right? It's anybody can buy a widget and sell a widget. So for us, it's can you buy it correctly? Can you warehouse it correctly? Can you ship it correctly? Can you keep it on the shelf for your customer, not just in good times, but in bad times as well? And then the other piece is the value that we add is, again, anybody can sell it, right? They can buy it and sell it, but not everybody can service the back end, the tool part, sell the tools, service the tools, fix the tools, provide the parts. So that's really our big value add. We think we do a great job in logistics. We think we buy right. We think we sell right. We think we stock right. But the other piece is our ability to serve the customer, whether it's job site, whether it's remote. We're able to provide parts and the service to keep that business running 24/7.
Man, you said a mouthful whenever you said anybody can buy. Can you warehouse? Can you buy right? Can you sell right? And I think that's relatable to the shed industry and how many shed lots we see. That's sort of a representative of how many shed manufacturers we see popping up here and there and everywhere. I know you see a good share down here in the Carolinas for sure. There's a lot of shed guys down here. But it's what separates a shed company from, moving 500 sheds a year to 2,500 sheds a year. And everybody always says, oh, no, don't maybe go on the podcast or don't talk to somebody because you might give away your secrets. And I've always laughed and thought, man, if anything in the shed industry that's a secret, you can walk across the street and see it in your competitor's building. There's no secrets. The secret is how you handle care in-house. And that speaks volumes to me because it's how you buy, how you sell, how you warehouse. It's the same thing whenever it comes to sheds. That's what's going to set you apart from most of your customers. What is 8 years already in the fastener industry and dealing with sheds taught you?
It's just evolving. It is not what it was 20 years ago. It's not what it was 10 years ago. I'd say it's changed in 5. You look at how sheds are being built. You look at the material going in the sheds. They're not that rinky-dink little metal thing in the back with a plywood floor. These things are tiny homes. They're off-grid living. They're office space, work studios. Yeah. I've got a shed, and my lawnmower is not in my shed. All right. I've got nice flooring in my shed, and it's not for my lawnmower. It's not for gas cans. I don't want gas smell in my shed. And it really is. It's amazing, and it just keeps changing. It on and on and on. It changes. From what it was 30 years ago.
So how do you guys relate from home building into sheds? You got single family, multifamily, whatever, but then does the fastener side of that business change, whether it be building code wise? What's some of the more nuance? What's the details of the fasteners of the sheds whenever, I know one thing you guys talked about it earlier, you pride yourself on is really being able to service that customer also with the tool, but the fastener itself, do any of those things change? Any of those things change with IBCs or building codes or any of that kind of stuff? What do you guys see? Do you see the shed industry calling for better products constantly, or what's sort of the thought?
I mean, they've gone into some code. I mean, you get out in certain areas where you got wind code. HOAs are probably more of a thing than the wind codes, though. I mean, these guys got to build a shed that looks like a house.
Yeah,
it has to match.
Yeah.
But we've got into more structural screws and hangers, whatnot. I think there's probably some more wind braces put in.
Yeah, I've seen hurricane ties and things like that really becoming it almost seems like a standard even outside of Florida where they might require it or something like that.
Is your current sales and inventory management system complicated and frustrating? Are you tired of juggling multiple systems to keep track of your business? Those challenges are a thing of the past with a dealer management system powered by RTO National. With the DMS, you can easily process any type of sale with just a few clicks. Leave messy paperwork in the past and welcome in streamlined processes. The intuitive e-commerce links allows customers to browse and shop your inventory anytime, anywhere. Track transportation, payments, and contracts efficiently using our unparalleled service request management and transportation tracking tools. Detailed reporting within the system allows you to track every sale and payment, helping you make data-backed decisions to grow your business. Revolutionize your current workflow with the dealer management system. Explore the user-friendly interface and experience the DMS firsthand by scanning the QR code or emailing us at contactus@rtonational.com to request a demo.
So give me the list of, for those who don't know Southern Carlson. Now, obviously you guys have been at like the Shed Expo, or plan to be there this year. So surely people have seen some familiar faces and things like that if they see you here on video. But if not, they've probably talked to you at some point. What's sort of the gambit of Southern Carlson? Somebody give me the top-down version of Southern Carlson, where it starts and where it kind of meets the shed industry.
I think these two pointed the finger at me for that. So,
Oh yeah, you're nominated.
I kind of pointed it at you
no,
myself.
that's great. So,
Chain of command, bud.
Southern Carlson's an evolution of companies over the past, since the late 40s, early 50s, and it's, it started as packaging companies, fastener companies, and tool and supply companies, and led to the amalgamation of Southern Carlson, and included a lot of staff to houses and nail houses, that type of thing. Company was purchased roughly 4+ years ago by Kyocera. So Kyocera Global owns Southern Carlson. We've done a great job with them over the past 4 years. Business has grown incredibly. But the company, we serve all these multiple channels. We'll serve the industrial channel, which will be shed builders and other manufacturers, HUD code builders, right? Modular home builders, furniture, everything, automotive. We're in all those channels. Then we serve really at a very high level the single-family builder, multifamily builder business. So our ability to bring new code product, we were talking earlier about code and how it influences sheds, and hurricane clips are a big deal. But in a lot of wind zones, new products are being accepted. So now we have through truss, through plate, single screw applications, where rather than having to hang a hurricane clip with 8 to 5 hand-driven nails or positive placement nails, you have one screw that goes right through the bottom plate, on up into the rafter, and they're done. So those innovations really kind of strike into the residential or multifamily channel first. We're there. We serve 100% of the time there, and we're able to introduce that into the shed arena as well. So there's just so many innovations. You talked about hurricane clips in Florida. Anything Miami-Dade usually populates its way up to Charleston first. Then we get hit with it in some places on the coast. And we're able to introduce that as well as an innovative product to our shed channel when needed. And if it's overkill and it's not needed, we won't do it. But we know about it usually first.
So what was you guys' first experience in that? Like you talk about like the hurricane clips and things like that. Whenever I assume you've been servicing the shed industry for quite some time.
Correct.
What was kind of your experience as those things do come up from Miami-Dade and things like that? What is that more opportunity for you to seize that market? Because you can hear Southern Carlson and you hear fasteners, but I'm trying to get the audience to see through the microphone, it's more than that. And we'll try to do that some justice by taking some pictures, maybe getting some B-roll and some video and things like that. But I mean, this is just one of many warehouses that you guys have, right? So, I mean, like there's multiple products, but then there's also multiple locations, which again, to me comes back to one of the groans of the industry 2 years ago was I can't find product. And Southern Carlson says, wait a minute, you can find it here. We've got that. Is that right?
That's correct. We'll have it strategically placed in large-scale distribution centers to serve regions or multiple regions like this facility does. In addition to our pockets, our 150 retail locations that also store inventory. So there's really no market we can't reach with product service and or tool service repair.
What's so you guys are out on the road most of the time. What I really envy or admire about you guys is that we can relate on that. You're talking about putting in the miles for sure, as you're going out. We already had some conversation earlier. I got to tell you, some of the things that I really took away from the conversation is how appreciative, but how serious you take your position, that it's more than just I'm a sales rep, somebody sending out to say hello. From a sales rep perspective, I'd be curious you guys' thoughts on the shed industry in large and how you differentiate that inside of Southern Carlson versus some of your other product lines. Is shed a big part of what you do? Is it a percentage of what you do? And how do you navigate sheds? Because I know sheds it's just a different world.
Sheds in my region are, I'd say, about 60% of what I do. And I'm putting in about 300 miles a day minus Friday. My Fridays are short. Somebody's got to have office days. So I choose Friday. But no, it's I don't know. We make jokes about sales guy this and sales guy that. It's more of a service than anything. I mean, we're going out, checking these guys' inventory, talking to them about what they used last time, so, where they're at now, kind of give them a rough estimate of, hey, you guys are on the same track you've been on. This is kind of where you're going to be next week. Just to lighten some of their load on what their typical week would run. It's just one more thing they don't have to worry about. And if we can see some other items that will help them streamline some of that, cut some times loose as far as, hey, instead of spending 45 minutes to run down the road to pick up this, hey, you don't need it right now, but you will need it in a day, 2 days. Hey, we'll throw it on the skid, we'll send it down here with it.
Hey guys, this is the Shed Geek, and I'm here to tell you about the latest in financial innovation to hit the shed industry. It's a program called Backyard Finance. Everywhere I go, shed manufacturers and shed sellers are always asking, how can I get a better payment option for my customer? At Backyard Finance, they're making this a reality. You might be asking, how do I sign up? Simple, just go to Backyard Finance, click on the Get Started Now button, and create an account. After that, you'll have 200 plus banks competing to give your customer the best financial terms possible. With Backyard Finance, you can service your customers 2 ways, direct to customer lending or direct to merchant lending. With direct to merchant lending, simply fill out an application. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks to process that application, but it'll allow you a variety of financing options to make you a more competitive retailer. With FICO scores as low as 500, 600, or 700 plus, your customers will receive financing options with APRs as low as 2.99% or as high as 29.99%. Credit applications are approved in just 15 to 45 seconds. To know more, contact Backyard Finance at 833-692-2286 or email info@backyardfinance.com today. Backyard Finance, funding backyard dreams. You guys are big on projection too. That's a lot of what we talked about. What's sort of an approach to like a shed client whenever you're discussing that? Because we're a very fragmented industry. I mean, we talked about this early on, and it's probably been talked about multiple times, even on the podcast. The average shed lot it's just growing in what it is and what it contains. And you guys probably have products in multiple things that they might even have on the shed lot. I mean, shed lots now are hunting blinds and chicken coops and, metal carport structures and things like that. It's almost hard to know where the shed lot stops and other things start at times. But what, how do you approach that? How do you approach like shed guys specifically, and how do you kind of talk about growth and visualizing what they're going to need in due time?
I mean, I would say probably the biggest thing is having just more than fasteners. We've got power tools from cordless to, pretty much all the major brands that are out there where we can let the customer pick. We can give him the choice and say, hey, we've got A, B, C, D, and let them kind of choose. But from our experience, we can always say, hey, this tool's a little bit better than this tool for this application, because some guys are all brand A or all brand B. And a lot of my guys, I'll just go in and say, hey, for that particular application, this is a really good tool. So that's kind of, I guess, kind of the approach that I take, and then kind of bring it around full scale and just kind of throw some feelers out there and just let them know, hey, we've got this, or we've got that, or we do adhesive, or, we can do that for you. I know you're getting it from somewhere else, and just kind of feel, hey, are you happy with where you're buying it from? Or if we don't have that particular product. So.
You said some guys are like brand A, brand B. I kind of get that way in my own, but even in my own experience, how do you overcome that with, obviously you guys sell multiple tool brands, fastener brands. I mean, you guys are, you have a wide range. So like, what do you do whenever a guy's stuck on something that you could see is the best for him? If he were to switch, or if he were to just, one of the things you guys told me about earlier was, what was the company that came in? They said, look, we're going to clean all this up. We're going to get you on the right track.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh, no, for like a power tool company,
Yeah.
I think what Sean was saying earlier, if a plant has, you got one guy in the back that's using product A, and you've got another guy over here that's using this battery, there's some of our vendors that'll come in and say, hey, let's clean this all up and just get our brand in there. Everybody's on the same charger, the same battery compatibility, and kind of clean it up that way. But you're right. There's guys that do have that preference, just like driving your vehicle. You have a preference on vehicle. Sometimes it takes, well, hey, this is what a lot of people are using, and this is why, and then kind of show him that difference. And then a lot of times they'll kind of sit on it a while and be like, all right, let me try that. So,
yeah, and we'll have, whether it's the shed industry or door and window plant, they may have a material change, right? They could have a trim component that changes from a soft coating to a harder coating. Now the staplers or the finish nailers that they're using are chipping the finish because the No More tip is different on that brand, or it's not adequate. And another manufacturer will make a tool that's better suited for that. So these guys have the expertise and the experience to go in and go, okay, we know it's a material issue. It's not the guy using the tool the wrong way. It's not the pressure on the tank. It's just the fact that we have to have another manufacturer's tool that happens to make the best tip for that application. It can be that simple.
And luckily, we've got a relationship with our vendors there. We're open. They're letting us know what's going on. There's different parts we can get. So we may not have to change the whole tool. We may just be able to go out there and just change out a trip. We may be able to change out just a trigger, just to kind of for depth adjustment and whatnot. I mean,
and that's very important for the way the shed industry is kind of primarily set up right now, with piecework, and you've got a lot of bays. You've got a lot of these builders are independently hired, so they're bringing their own tools. They might not know. It's not just about the fastener; it's about how it performs inside of the nail gun, maybe that you're using. And something I took away from you guys that I felt like for me I wanted to portray to the audience was really the amount of knowledge that you have, that you're not just going out and trying to push boxes of nails out on companies. That I really felt like the culture here and the team that you guys have put together, like you have experience in what you do. You're not just coming into it blindly saying you should use our product.
We've all been on both ends of the product, whether it's the nail gun that we all have serviced, we've all repaired tools, we've all used the nail guns. So, certain tools work for certain applications better than others, and until you grab a hold of it and you do it, you don't know. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, there's some guys, there's Jim over here who's used the same bright green nail gun for 15 years, and you're never going to put anything else in his hand until they just don't manufacture parts for it.
Change is coming, Jim. Change is coming.
Well, when they quit making that O-ring on that piston, Jim, you're going to be in bad shape. But I don't know what to. We'll spool together some rubber bands or something. I don't know, but we'll try. We'll try. But no, it's we've all done it. We've all made we've all been on both ends of it. So it's easy to talk to the guys that are using them. So when they tell us something, hey, you know, this is a good gun, it's lighter, but the nose slips. Okay, well, we need to put a different trip on that nose. We need to put more of an aggressive trip on it. I've seen guys take, you know, side grinders and cut teeth into the nose just so they don't slip when they shoot that 45 or something. So, and we all have been there. We've all seen it happen. We've got enough experience with it to where we know, all right, here's this gun, here's this tool. It's a good tool, but when you go to do this, it's where you're going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
Sure enough. You know, I've got 2 older guys that frame, and you know the shoulders are shot, and those 2 guys, I provide them with stick nails. I provide no one else with stick nails except for those 2 guys.
It's relationship-based selling works. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's perfect. What are some of the more surprising things in 25 years, 8 years, 25 years, 30 years? I mean, combined total, who knows? You guys have been doing this for a long time. What's some of the surprises you've seen about the shed industry? And we're not even talking about the drama. We'll stay away from that. We're just talking about we're just talking about some of the more surprising things that you see from a fastener company. That I would imagine application really plays into that a lot. Different materials. Are you seeing different things? I mean, traditionally you saw, you know, wood to wood. You're seeing a lot of metal out there now. Is that affecting, you know, what you guys do or product lines or what you choose to offer?
Metal, honestly, I think the metal side of the economy sheds, I mean, they probably hurt us on the fastener side. We're still getting, you know, the framers, the floor nails, but at the same time, I mean, we've got the screws. We've got the color match screws. I mean, it's, you know, again, it's all about the evolution of the shed. It's, you know,
You have to be versatile.
well, and the great thing about that is the different avenues that SouthernCarlson has, it just translates. It just rolls over. You know, everything that these guys are doing with sheds are coming from the housing side of things. So it just translates right over, and we're already stocked and equipped with those products to be able to move forward. We've already been buying them. We've already buying them in mass, so we're good to go price-wise.
I would almost ask what's driving the industry forward, but I mean, in some ways you've kind of answered that there. I mean, we are seeing small structures that are built like homes. I mean, it's not like just a regular old outbuilding like you might have seen in the 70s or the 80s, something that you're throwing together just to cover. You're seeing music studios. You're seeing, I don't know, I've heard them called granny pods or what's some of the other cool names?
He sheds, she sheds.
Yeah.
She shed.
Well, I think if
Sheds.
the audience, maybe they'll appreciate this, but thank you, Del Beachy, for this. I think the correct term in Pennsylvania Dutch is dotty sheds.
Dotty shed.
If I remember right. So it's like a grandpa shed or something like that. You know, they move out of the larger house, and then you have like a dotty home is what they called it. So you move into the smaller home. So hopefully my audience is proud of me for learning these very small amounts of Pennsylvania Dutch about once every 2 years. But you are seeing just the quality really start to take shape in sheds. And I just always wonder where fasteners meet that. What's sort of the the R&D kind of, you know, inner secrets of what you're looking at for the shed industry whenever it comes to the fastener side.
Right. And it's really, we don't look at it as our task to change that channel, right? It's consultative sales. It's understanding your customer, listening to them, and them saying, this is the problem that we're having. I mean, there's so many innovations in residential that could be a good fit. So it's like tools. People ask us all the time, what's the best brand? What brand do you recommend? Our job is not really to do that unless it's an application specific project or job. Our job is to be an expert at all the tools, because if we have a customer that's invested in one color platform or another, and most of the tools are designated by their color, if he has 20 batteries in that platform and he needs a new tool, odds are he's not going to want to buy a different color tool with a battery that doesn't cross over. So we have to make sure that now sometimes there is a specific task that we have customers that use table saws to process sheet goods. We go in and see one guy flipping an 8-foot sheet. He's slamming it down on the table saw. He may or may not be getting it lined up. It's the worst possible application for a table saw there is. And we go in and say, hey, what about a panel saw here? Right? This is going to save his back. So it's just being an expert in really everything that you have to offer, and then listening to the customer and what their pain point is and saying, like a doctor, I've got a prescription for that.
I love the consultative sales approach, is trying to figure out what your problem is and solving that problem, not coming in telling you, here's your problem, do this. There's a mouthful there for much of the shed industry that we could probably take away from just that sound bite. Let's create another one here, just because I'm curious. I'm a shed manufacturer, just to put you guys on the spot. I'm a shed manufacturer. I'm quite comfortable with where I am already on my fasteners. Why should I purchase something from SouthernCarlson?
I mean, I would say first we look at the service. I think that's a big part of it, and how you're being serviced, how you're being shipped to. Are you getting your shipments in 4 days, 5 days? Obviously, a lot of our customers here get their shipments next day if we can ship by a certain time of the day. And I got a lot of customers that's what they rely on, because they'll wait to the last minute and, so-and-so forgot to get me a box. But I think our service is probably second to none when it comes to service. I think our experience and our knowledge also comes along with it. Obviously, everybody wants to know pricing. Pricing is always a big thing. I feel we're probably one of the competitivest. I don't know if that's a word I just said there, but most competitive.
You might not know this, but we actually make words up here on the podcast, so it's perfect.
But I forgot where I was going. My word thought.
You're the most competitiveness.
Yeah.
Well, we try to be competitive. I think it sets the market up that way. But the problem was when you said, I think I'm fine on my fasteners. Okay. There's a lot other than fasteners. And that's the problem when you say, what do you do for a living? I sell staples and nails. But you say that
sell nails?
Just because it's easy.
I wish you could do it again, and we could have like a wig with hair blowing in the wind.
He batted his eyes. When
he did, didn't he? He's
Yeah,
like, I sell nails and staples.
So and the joke is like, what do you do? You go out of town, you travel. What are you in town for? I'm doing this. Well, what do you do? I sell nails. And they look at you. Nails? No. Nails. Yeah.
And even saying sales doesn't always do it.
It does not.
Justice.
It does not. And my card does not say salesman.
Yeah.
It says territory manager.
Yeah.
But when you say, I'm good on my fasteners. I'm good on my fastener needs. Okay. Well, the problem is it's not just fastener needs. It's the service. It's your tools. It's your freight. It's when are you getting your deliveries? Who's checking your inventory? Who's doing your shrink wrapping for you? Who's doing your mill plastic? Who's doing your saw blades? Who's doing your drill bits? All different types of things. And when you look at it, it's, how often are you sending Jimmy down the street because his green tool's broke down, orange tool, whatever color it is, down the street to go pick up parts? And it takes him 45 minutes to go do that. 3 times a week, that's quite a bit. So instead of just, I'm good on my fasteners. Okay, well, are you good on everything?
I don't envy that you have to sell to the shed industry, because the one thing that I do know about being in the shed industry is they are some of the hardest people to sell to. Now, with that being said, now I'm going to watch me get some letters or something over this, but typically speaking, the thought is they believe in their product and they sell their product, with simplicity in mind. Of course you should buy my product. and probably would expect that customers would give their shed an opportunity to see the light of sale, right? To actually get in front of a customer, have their salespeople do that. Not always do they offer you the same courtesy whenever it comes to knocking on the door. So that's why I say sometimes I don't envy that, because you almost have to you have to get creative. You have to think of sales as not, hey, I'm here to tell you about my fasteners. Hey, I'm here to tell you about our rent-own product. What about our 3D configurator or whatever it is? You have to get beyond what it is that you're trying. And I've always used relationship for that. That's something that you guys do here big time, because you're probably not going to sell something to them on the first day anyway. Whenever you immediately introduce yourself, maybe.
Unless it's COVID.
Yeah. And then you couldn't, it was like everybody else. You're trying, they had stuff flying off have things flying off the shelf. But you had skids whenever they were ready. And that's kind of that brand point that you're trying to push, right? Is that, hey, we're going to be there through the thick and the thin.
Well, and with COVID, that really, I think, showed our customers that we value them. We did not go out and try to find new business.
Yeah.
Which is, mind-blowing in the sales world. What? You ain't trying to sell something?
Yeah.
We had the product that we had for our customers for their projected numbers, and we stuck to that. Now, we had some opportunities where we were able to help some other people out, but and we pulled and we scratched and we fought for product. I mean, everybody in the industry did. But
yeah, there was just, with an entire labor force being shut down in a lot of places, it's just hard to find longevity. But projection does play a key role in that. And hello, this is Identigro. How can we help you?
Well, I was looking at getting some nameplates for my line of barns and wondered what options you got.
Well, that's simple. We've got full color aluminum sublimated ovals, coated black, Dura-Black, laser engraved custom plates, screen printed aluminum, die struck aluminum in rectangles, rounded rectangles, and ovals.
Is that everything?
No, sir. We've got bike plates, spot color or full color, tacker signs, 3D custom plates in black plastic, white plastic, custom plastic, 3D stock plates in rectangles and ovals, a neat little barn design, shields, and more.
Well, is that all?
No, sir. We've got 3D plastic in specialty sizes, mini 3D plastic, large 3D plastic, key fobs, soft plastic key fobs, 3D plastic key fobs, die struck key fobs, full color sublimated key fob.
Boy, I'm confused.
Well, we have many plates for different situations, taste, and pocketbooks, and we make it easy to find the one that is perfectly suited to your needs.
That sounds good. What info do you need to get started?
Identigro, helping identify your shed brand for over 20 years. I love your, I don't know if you call it your sales pitch, Sarah, but you say you're good with your fasteners, but what about this? And what about this? It's a service. It's I don't know. I read a book that says relationship selling is not the way to go, and I just disagree.
that's completely opposite of what we do.
It's a component. It's a component of it, right? But there is that kind of hard nose, in the sales industry. There's like the no be back sale, right? You get the one opportunity. If you don't hard close, you don't get the customer.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work in this industry, but asking some qualifying questions. So, okay, you're happy. I always tell the story to some of my team, and that is, I thought I did everything right with one customer that I called on in a different industry for 3 years, and it was HVAC equipment. And he would be in my store. He would call me. We'd go to lunch. He just wouldn't buy from me. And I kept saying, what's the price? What's the price point? I know what the brand was. I had a better warranty. He still wouldn't buy from me. And one day we were sitting down, and I said, I'm really confused. You buy all this other stuff from me, but you won't buy your HVAC for why not? What's going on? And he said, because his son-in-law was the sales rep for the competing brand. I never took the time to get, you know what I mean? There's no way I'm going to sell that product to that customer. So when we hit that wall with our customers, the reality is, okay, great. I really want to learn from my competition.
That's when you hire a son.
Well, no, I'm out of that industry now, but for us, we get to say, fantastic, you love vendor A. what do you like most about their program? What do they do well, right? Because if they're doing something better than us, we're going to learn and we're going to do better than that. And then the question is, what do you like least? Or what's the one thing you would change? Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, they're great, but they ran out of product. Fantastic. Let me tell you about our COVID story. Because not only did we serve our customers at 100%. Now, it might not have been the color box they wanted, but it was a box with what they needed inside it. But we were able to serve some others as well. So we just have to find that opening. And if it's not a nail, great. I'll look at your airlines and say, heck, you got sagging, your airline's running in the ceiling, you got sagging, you got water collection. Let's talk about that. Let's go to compressors and hoses.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's always another opportunity, and that's the beauty is you guys are so multifaceted that you can move from one thing to the next. What are some of the surprises that you guys have found in trying to supply the shed industry? What's something that Southern Carlson didn't see coming, or all of your years of experience, you said, wow, anybody got a story where you're like, didn't see that coming, or anything surprising about the shed industry particularly?
I mean, I don't know that we could say we didn't see it coming, but consolidation is a big part of the industry right now, right? You'll have long-time customers that tomorrow they'll say, by the way, we're going to be so-and-so tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if that's not a customer that's in your bucket, now you have to shift gears, right, and play to a new audience.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of consolidation, and really surprising that any outages, if somebody, and I won't say what market, but got somebody close to me that been in the industry for a very long time, just closed up their door, you'd say, okay, there's one notch, right? The industry might be ticking down, but then you get a phone call and there's two more that are opening up. So you can't get your head around it.
Yeah. What y'all's experience been with that? I mean, do you feel like it's just the industry still, from a vendor perspective on the outside looking in, do you feel like the shed industry is growing? We talk about the elusive glass ceiling and the bubble that's going to pop eventually, where there's just too many shed lots and there's too many shed manufacturers. But what's you guys' experience as a vendor or boots on the ground?
It's, I don't know, sometimes it's kind of hard to keep up with the growing, with the new lots, with the new manufacturers. And everybody's kind of, I mean, kudos to them for wanting to go out and do it. That's a lot of guts. I mean, I'm not sure if I could go out here and start my own company, but
I've just been curious where all the sheds are going. It's like everybody's got 5 in their backyard or something, as many as they're producing in the last 4 or 5 years. Like,
well, there really is a lot. I mean, when you go, I mean, the Carolinas are full. I mean, you guys have a lot of shed companies around here. I mean, there's a shed lot constantly. I posted on the Shed Haulers group this morning. I caught one picture of a guy going across the bridge with a shed, so I tried to get it in time. But probably saw 9 other shed trucks with each one of them with 3 sheds on there. And I always think to myself, is this a lot of inventory moving around? Or, I mean, are we really seeing this many shed sales? North Carolina's growing. You guys are probably seeing a lot of transplants, or politics is changing things. So certain states become more welcome than other states, it seems. People moving in, got to have a shed.
Our region as a whole is just blossomed. I mean, it's, you ride through South Carolina, you ride through Charlotte, Raleigh area, there's houses everywhere.
Yeah.
And they've got to have a place to keep their stuff. I mean, when it boils down to it. So, everybody's like, oh, the bubble's going to pop sometimes. They're going to keep building houses. There's no way they're just.
Well, population's just growing and growing and growing. So
these people got to have a place to live.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know. I'm always in a conversation somehow with somebody where I don't know, some guys don't venture into the shed industry, or you get a word that there's getting ready to start a manufacturer over here or something like that. And, we're going to hold off a little bit and see what the economy does or whatever. But I don't know. It seems like it's growing, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. People, plus, in America, we like our stuff. I mean, just point blank, we like our stuff. And at the end of the day, a shed is storage, but I mean, you are seeing diversification with shed lots, even some shed manufacturers where they're starting to do different products. Yeah. What's a favorite memory that you guys have from a fastener perspective? A favorite memory or story that you have related to the shed industry? All these years of experience, I can't help but think that you guys have, something's changed, your philosophy or the way that you've done things. You've met one guy, one company, one something that's...
Keep injuries out of it. We're not going to talk about it. The time Joe shot himself in the knee. Let's not talk about that.
You mentioned earlier about what's it like when you kind of get stonewalled, right? When you go on a new customer opportunity or effort. And I can't think of a time that I was stonewalled.
Oh, wow.
We're blessed with, I guess, a customer base that's very welcoming. I mean, we have some that you're not going to leave their place without a jar of jam or some apple butter. I mean,
a couple of those.
I had a customer, I can't tell you that story now, but nearly saved my life with a jar of apple butter. But that's a long story. But they've just always been very accommodating. They'll listen to you. And that's different than some other industries. And it's not that they're listening to you because they think they're going to save a penny. It's that they want to get to know you as a person and make sure that you're worth doing business with, because they don't always put price first. They put character first. So you at least get an opportunity to present your character.
There is a very good, I don't know. I've always said I don't shy away from my faith, and so I don't do it on the podcast. There's a very, if religious is the right word or not, I'm not sure, but there's a very religious base. There's a Christian base of builders and haulers and manufacturers that I do kind of admire. It kind of feels like, so I'm 42, I'll be 43 this year. And I always say that, like, hanging around people, I hope people understand this comment, hanging around people in the shed industry still feels like the 1980s. Now, that can be a good thing and a bad thing. But typically I see it as a good thing, because it seems like growing up in the 80s was like that before America changed feeling for me. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but it just feels like a lot about it changed. And the people from the industry still feel like they give you that wholesomeness when you are around them that kind of brings back that feeling. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but
I would agree with that. I mean, they're welcoming. I mean, most of the time in most of these shed places, once you get past hey, I don't know you, I'm busy, I got stuff going on. Once you establish a relationship and these guys know you, you begin to know more about their families. Yeah. And then, hey, I didn't know you weren't here Thursday or Friday. I just, kind of checked and make sure you was okay. Especially when COVID was going around, man, we were worried about quite a few of our customers and their health, and some were really bad off. But like you said, there's a lot of morals involved in the shed industry, and a lot of, I think, more handshake deals that are in the shed industry. Yep. And so, speaking to the 1980s, I would say that'd be accurate. I mean,
off there, we kind of talked about that. What the audience didn't get a chance to hear, sort of the podcast before the podcast, and we did that while we was walking around and touring the beautiful facility here. But that is kind of a staple in the industry. I think that does hold a lot of things together, and that is the moral fiber that the industry seems to come out of. That's, and we talked about communication. That 1980s feeling feels real good until you try to sell a 3D configurator, let me tell you. Then it's out the window. But, just the same as bad communication travels fast, good communication travels fast. It's one thing I will say about this industry is it does really good, and the plane communities have a very good job. I think I've joked about this on the podcast before. We might have a podcast or Facebook or the internet or whatever, but whatever that network is, that underground network between the plane communities that moves word quickly from one place to the next, we can't compete with it. And I think that's all the more reason to do a good job, because that news travels, and referrals are where it's at, man. Whenever you do well with one company, they're going to tell somebody else about your company. If folks want to find out more about Southern Carlson, where do they go? Where do they find out information? Who do they talk to?
Oh, my goodness. First of all, southerncarlson.com. Devin's raising his hand. He's like, just call his personal number for all sales opportunities. He'll be happy to
Just call me.
So southerncarlson.com, which will give you a locator, and it'll tell you what locations are where, and it kind of guides you to who to speak with in that particular market. I will say anything in the Carolinas, reach out to any member of this team. Their information's on the website as well. And don't get overwhelmed. I mean, it's a big website. The breadth and depth of the product menu is huge. Don't get distracted by multifamily, single family. If you're a shed builder, contact one of these professionals. Wayne's been kind of quiet over there. I think he's enjoying it, but he's a big part of this team as well. And they'll introduce and afford the same level of service and opportunity that we do with our existing customers. So.
And I think that's the beauty, is that you guys can service anywhere in the country.
Absolutely.
We're just looking at one facility that, I don't know, leads the pack in the shed industry. I'll say it. If you guys don't say it, I'm going to say it. It sort of leads the pack in the shed industry, but you can make those communications. Like, you can figure that out. So if nothing else, maybe we can put like some telephone numbers and names and things like that and show notes. That way, if people did want to reach out. My biggest goal a lot of times with the shed industry is not just to come on here and tell history of the shed industry. It's also, I hate to use the word influencer, because that's, to me, I think of like a TikTok kid doing videos and stuff like that. I've
you don't have a cool dance.
I don't have any dance, cool or not.
Just do that again.
Nah, we're good.
I was about to say, let's
Listen,
zoom.
I'm missing my wig. I did my eye flutter. I got a little dance in there. I think I nailed it all.
It's better than what I got, good or bad. I have no dance, so. But I don't know. You guys, you seem like the culture is really good. It's really strong here. Obviously, you're in the Carolinas where there's a lot of shed influence and things like that, and that's maybe kind of where I was going. But I don't like to influence a buyer. Just want to tell as much about the product as possible. Hope you guys have done that today. Who knows? Maybe we can. We're trying to branch out a little bit with the podcast. We're trying to do like have a manufacturer co-host, from time to time, and maybe have like a shed seller co-host and talk about the sales process, and maybe a shed hauler that gets into a little bit more of the depth of it than what I do on a daily basis. So we're trying to do other things here, and maybe have like a webinar, or maybe have like just have some suppliers on there to answer those questions or something like that, where we can get a couple of manufacturers together and ask a more in-depth question that might talk about the in-depthness of Southern Carlson and the product knowledge specifically, the angle on the gun, and why is this messing up, and why is that there?
And that would probably actually help us some as well. I mean, I'm sure there's something out there that hasn't been asked by a shed builder. I'm sure that, through a busy day, there's something that's passed over, and oh man, I forgot all about that, And I mean, that'd be good for us. I mean, it's just going to help us stay more to providing better service.
I look at it two angles. It's going to increase knowledge, because if you have 10 shed manufacturers together asking questions to one specific product, it's going to sharpen you, and it's going to sharpen them and others, and it's going to give you a chance to sell to 10 people.
Well, and you don't know if something's not working unless somebody tells you.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, if I'm doing it wrong, correct me. Don't chastise me. I've been lucky enough that I've either had deaf ears, or I just haven't had too many complaints yet so far on the podcast, but we're always looking to increase knowledge, do better, and do more. You guys just have a good culture. I could definitely see a Zoom call with 10 or 20 manufacturers on there and talking about the in-depths of, what you offer.
Sure.
But how it helps too. I think we can just go deeper. So who knows? Maybe the future. Who knows what it holds?
Well, we'll be at the Shed Show in Knoxville. So
You guys have demos. You were telling me of products there.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wants to come up and talk to you guys there, they'll be able to shake your hand, introduce you, put in an order of something.
You can put in an order without shaking our hand. It's okay. You can do it anytime you want. But the reality is, bring your problems, right? Anybody can sell you something. Tell
Your
us,
shed problems only, guys. Shed problems only.
Shed problems only. No relationships. But if give us an opportunity to earn a business. Let us fix a problem for you.
Yeah. And like we talked before, it may not be your fasteners.
Yeah.
It may be something else.
Well, and I only see you guys growing and getting a bigger footprint. So very happy. This podcast has been in the works for 3 months, 4 months. I don't know. We've talked for quite some time now, but glad to finally got a chance to get out here. It's always beautiful in the Carolinas. People are always so kind. I'm a fan of what you guys do. What I try to do is just be a fly on the wall for the listener. And I'd love it if they could see your facility and just it would instill the confidence as a buyer what these guys do. Very amazing people with amazing products. Give them a call, SouthernCarlson. We'll put some show notes in with some names, some telephone numbers if you want to call. Obviously, SouthernCarlson.com, and you can find your way through the thick of everything to find someone who'll help you. I can guarantee that. Guys, thanks for being on the show, walking me and my wife around in the warehouse. We really appreciated that. We'll get some shots on there for those of you that's watching YouTube. Any final thoughts that you guys would leave with hopefully about 1,000 mixture of shed haulers, builders, and sellers out there? What would you guys' final thoughts be?
Start from that side.
Start from the back.
Buy from us.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Why go anywhere else?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I would say buy from us, but give us an opportunity to earn a business. Plain and simple. We'll prove our service is unsurpassed. We'll show you that we understand your business, and that if there's something we don't understand, if there's a problem that needs a solution, we'll drag the solution to your front door. So,
Love it.
Man, I'm gonna go wide left on. I appreciate the shed haulers. I do. I've bought a new shed recently. I've had a shed hauler, Twin Oaks, I believe it was, that delivered my shed, and fantastic job. No ruts in my yard. Called ahead, checked it out, make sure everything was good. And they really don't get enough justice for what those guys do.
Final lasting memory with the shed customer.
Man,
What they leave there is what typically people are going to take away, no matter how the sale went, no matter how good the shed's built. All of that simply goes away with that lasting impression of how, not probably, I mean, the hardest working guys in the industry. No offense, builders and sellers, we're not even in the competition. So,
well, if that shed's not set up right, why is my windows not open up right? Why are my doors swing open? Why this floor sags? That's a lot on the guy dropping the shed off.
if I'm not mistaken, I think it's still maybe rumor, but the big shed hauler bash that's every 18 months, I think that's coming to North Carolina maybe in the spring. Definitely, if you guys get a chance, you ought to come out and see fun. Those guys. Man, they beautiful. We see about 500 rigs out there with lights on, the parade that they do, the amount of equipment that's there. But really, it's the shed show for the haulers, right? Like it's the shed expo, but for the haulers. They all get together, you share in secrets and trades, and you really laid competition down for a day, and you just appreciate each other for what they do. Final thoughts.
I mean, I would just say whatever problem, how big or how small it is, give us an opportunity to see if we can't solve it and get a solution for you. I think that's probably the biggest thing. If we could have a shot at, you've got some type of problem somewhere. Let us be your person that can solve that for you.
for the half of the audience that knows who he is, I think it was Vanilla Ice that said, if there was a problem, I'll solve it. So
That's right.
appreciate you
You
guys.
want to do that dance?
We're actually going to kill the camera right before we do it. Unfortunately, nobody's going to
Okay.
get a chance to see it.
Well, thank you. For
Yes,
coming here and
absolutely.
touring the
Thank you.
facility and taking time out of your road travels and keeping the puppy locked up outside.
Yeah, she'll be so happy to see us. I promise you, man. It's a dream come true. I know that sounds really, really like weird or like whatever, but I searched for career for a long time to find what I enjoy doing. I just hope God grants me the ability and the means to continue to do it long term, because I absolutely love building relationships with people. And the shed industry is just the home. It's the people business. God just put me in the people business inside of sheds. It could have been cars or fasteners. It could have been whatever I was doing. He saw fit for me to just talk to people in sheds, and kind of got a general interest in history. So I love finding out about how this place got started, how that one got started, how you connect. And I think you guys probably saw some of that when we were walking around before, where the audience didn't get to speak. And I don't mean this as a statement of arrogance, but usually whenever you said a name, I was like, yeah, know that guy and this, that, and whatever. And there's a connection there, and they're awesome and blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of what I enjoy. I enjoy the relationship. It feels like a big old extended family. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. Trust me, it's my privilege and honor to be here, and can't say enough good about your product. If I can do anything to help move it off the shelves, you let me know, because big fan of you guys and big fan of what you do. So
Thank you.
Thank you.